It's not a headline, it's your morning. You tug on the same hoodie, socks don't match, but who cares? Your eyes drift to the counter. No milk, no eggs, no time. You check the balance anyway. 4 taps, a deep breath, and that number in red again. Somewhere between gas and groceries. You started putting things back. Not because you wanted less, but because that receipt felt like more. You used to calculate wants. Now you calculate needs. The late fee on the utility bill, the one still unpaid, the baby toy, still stuck under the TV stand. And the TV keeps playing headlines about a growing economy. But here's the truth we keep avoiding. Everywhere you look, America's collapse isn't loud. It's quiet, hidden, happening in plain sight. Fade in music, cinematic, subtle strings. Because every year, homes get smarter, but the decisions, they get harder. Smart thermostats tell you how to save, but they don't cover the gap between the heating bill and your last paycheck. The fridge orders groceries, but not the groceries you crossed off so the rent could clear. Technology once promised freedom. Now it just makes the struggle look sleek. This isn't dystopia. This is Thursday night, and someone's Wi-Fi just got cut off. Pause. We used to measure progress by new features. A crisper camera, a faster chip, a quicker delivery. But real life doesn't update that easily. Not when everyday costs now demand what yesterday's wages never promised. There's a myth we all participated in. That more output meant more reward. That a job with benefits was enough. That middle class was permanent. But it isn't. Not anymore. More Americans wake up not broke, but breaking. And it's different. It's not rock bottom, it's slow erosion. It's a mom skipping her dentist appointment twice. It's a dad rationing his prescriptions to keep the water on. It's a couple who worked every day last year, but still defaulted on their energy bill, trying to laugh about candlelight dinners. And just like that, survival becomes branding. Resilience becomes romantic. And poverty? It hides behind normal routines. Coffee brewed at home. Lights off in rooms you're not in. Streaming subscriptions canceled, except one. Not because these are life hacks, but because daily life, real life, is on a countdown. And what used to be Plan B has now become Plan A. We've seen reports. Inflation is cooling. Markets are strong. Consumer confidence is back. But none of that answers the question, why does everything still feel harder? Groceries haven't gone back down. Energy bills haven't softened. Tuition, rent, car insurance, still climbing. You cut what you could. But the rest? It just waits in silence until next month. Numbers on a chart say one thing, but the kitchen table says something else. Interest rates, GDP, consumer spending, they throw us graphs and smile. Meanwhile, your savings don't smile. Your balance doesn't lie. You know the truth without a survey. Every decision now is framed by one question. Can we afford this today? And when the answer is no, you stop planning. You start floating. There is no margin. Not when your car needs repair, or your kid needs new shoes, or your week lasted longer than your groceries. We haven't just lost control of the economy. We've lost control of our imaginations, because hope requires margin. And margin? It's been traded for survival. Documented inflation sits at 3%, but food up 20% over the last 3 years. Energy, rising, services, unreachable. Childcare alone now forces one parent into a jobless job. Stay at home not by choice, but necessity. And still, we're told everything's fine. But here's the conflict no index accounts for. When your reality keeps shrinking, but official stories stay wide. Gas prices drop, but you drive less. Rent stabilizes, but it's still too high. Jobs grow, but your hours were cut. It's the disconnect that builds the despair. Because this isn't about macro metrics, it's about microwave moments. Frozen dinners again. Flushing only when necessary. Stretching shampoo. Stretching meat. Stretching days. When a kid asks why mom looks tired all the time, that's where the real data lives. This isn't collapse with a bang. No. It's the vibration in the floor when your neighbor's foreclosure letter arrives. It's the silence after the power's cut. The flicker of candles while jobs disappear and screen time fills the gaps. This is the new America. Not one of despair, but of pretense. Pretense that the systems still serve. Pretense that wages still work. Pretense that life is sustainable if we just budget better. But daily life doesn't collapse in breaking news alerts. It collapses one skipped oil change at a time. One missed copay, one rolled over balance, one disconnection warning you hope won't come true. And here's where we must be honest. This collapse is not coming. It's here. It came in quietly, through the side door of normal. In neighborhoods that still look fine. In homes that still smile on Instagram. In families that still say, "We're okay," even when they're barely managing. Because that's what survival sounds like now. Performing okay, even when you're not. And if you've ever paused before swiping a card because you weren't sure it would go through, you felt it too. The quiet collapse. Not total, not explosive, but constant. And it doesn't come with fire. It comes with silence. The phone buzzes. It's a low alert. Payment reminder. You already knew. It's the 4th this week. Rent, utilities, dental, cell. You swipe past it the way most people scroll past tragedies, quietly. Because reaction doesn't change reality. In your mind, you're already budgeting against the next crisis. Not money, energy. There is no category in your app to track exhaustion. But it leaves a larger deficit than the bills. Somewhere, someone's grandmother is choosing between insulin and heat. Elsewhere, a college grad is applying for the same service job as a 17-year-old. And between both stories stands a broken promise. That effort meant elevation. That trying was enough. This was the American contract. Work hard, stay loyal, be smart, play fair. And for decades, it held. Not perfectly, not equally, but predictably. Now, wages move like molasses, but expenses sprint. The average utility bill has risen double digits for the 3rd year in a row. Energy authorities call it rate adjustment. Families call it, which bill do we delay? Because your home doesn't care how good you are with spreadsheets. Lights still need to turn on. Water still fills the tub, even if the cost makes you bathe faster. Thermostats are smart now, but thermostats don't understand stress. They won't feel what a mom feels when she keeps the house colder than normal, so her kids never hear the words, "We can't afford warm." And this is how collapse creeps in, through the rational decisions that quietly trade comfort for continuity. We're not just pinching pennies, we're shrinking lives. Skipping checks, skipping checkups, making dinner last 2 days instead of 1. And when we finally gather, birthday parties become potlucks. Gifts become group texts saying, "Let's just do cards this year." And even the cards feel heavy. Because everyone's carrying something. A red notice. A car in need of work. A smile held together by a lot of pretending. The silence between these realities and the headlines has made everyday Americans feel like strangers in their own timeline. How do you align optimism with a bank balance too scared to open? Still, you go to work. You repeat the ritual. You clock in, swipe out, pack lunch, wait for Friday. But by Friday, you're not celebrating. You're catching up. It's not, how much did I save? It's, which fire do I put out with this check? An overdraft. Childcare. The surprise charge from a software subscription you thought you canceled last month. And this is the part of collapse no one wants to name. The systems we depended on, wages, benefits, savings, safety nets, are no longer keeping up. And when systems don't work, people aren't lazy. They're just tired. When self-reliance becomes the only plan B, you watch your neighbor do her own plumbing after watching 5 YouTube videos. Not because she loves DIY, but because the quote for a real plumber was $460. So she learns, she adjusts. She smiles when it works, but the sigh after the smile says everything. This used to be easier. The illusion of comfort cracks in the details. A cracked phone screen you keep using for 6 more months. That squeal your brakes make, but somehow you adjust to the rhythm. No one plans for collapse, but we've all started expecting it. And quietly designing our lives to absorb it. Friends you haven't seen in months don't flake. They just flinch at gas prices. Movie nights turn into text threads, sharing logins, rotating accounts. No one says the word broke. But you feel it even when you're not. Because collapse isn't just financial, it's emotional, invisible, exhausting. It's watching your kid reach for cereal you forgot to restock. It's opening the fridge like it's a question, then closing it like the answer hurts. And outside the window, a different story plays. Wall Street celebrates quarterly growth. Politicians tweet job stats. Your favorite influencer flashes a matcha smoothie in a city you can't afford to visit. So you scroll quickly. Not because you're bitter, but because you're bracing. The internet sells success like it's a daily routine. But reality is this. If you've ever celebrated paying your bills on time, you're carrying a weight this economy doesn't measure. And if you've stopped opening mail because every envelope feels like punishment, you're not failing. You're adapting. Because somewhere along the way, life stopped asking, do you want it? And started demanding, can you survive it? Look closer and you'll see. This isn't about smartphones. It's about smart spending on things we never used to question. Toothpaste that lasts longer. Grocery lists trimmed to zeros. 1 pair of shoes repaired twice. We often talk about making ends meet. But what happens when the ends are running in opposite directions? Rent climbed, groceries climbed, utilities climbed, and your raise didn't. There's no app that fixes that. This is the unspoken tension of our time. We're optimizing survival like it's lifestyle design, decorating the struggle with routines and reschedules, hiding the hardship with hustle quotes and productivity hacks. But real life isn't aesthetic. And for many Americans, it's getting harder to hide the cracks, so they smile through the meetings, laugh through the deadlines, budget around birthdays, and in the quiet, they count the days until something breaks again. Car, tooth, spirit. And here's the hush. Most won't say it out loud, but a lot of people have already given up on catching up. Not because they don't try, but because the numbers no longer make sense. Because the math of modern life requires a miracle just to feel stable. And behind carefully curated moments, there lives the collapse. Polite, slow, persistent. It's why the fridge beeps when the door is left open, but no one warned you when the country started fraying. You had to notice it yourself, in the little tears, the quiet sacrifices, the exhaustion that outlasts weekends. Because this isn't what failure looks like. This is what normal has become. Lights on, fridge humming, notifications pinging. But inside, millions are barely holding together what statistics say should be fixed. That's the part no one budgets for. not the cost, but the weight of appearing okay. The truth is, nobody sees collapse when it's polite. It doesn't knock down doors. It doesn't broadcast headlines. It waits beside you, in the form of choices you wish you didn't have to make. Do we fix the tires or pay the copay? Do we fill the fridge or pay down the card? Do we dream in color or just get through the week? And in between those choices, a new America quietly formed, without permission or warning. Ask anyone. Not the ones posting graphs, the ones posting dinner from the leftovers they resisted eating. Ask the father with 2 jobs who still borrows from his teenage son just to make rent. Ask the retired couple who now share their medication calendars like chessboards, making every refill feel more like strategy than health. They'll all tell you, this isn't how it used to be. Because the collapse didn't arrive with sound. It arrived between moments. When the school lunch card stopped working. When the power company started texting you warnings. When your boss added more hours, but not more pay. Because everyone's tightening. We rationalized it for years. It's temporary. It's transitional. It'll pass. But months passed. Then years passed. And still, we tighten. While the world we were sold becomes less believable, even hope has started budgeting itself. Used to be you dreamed about vacations, upgrades, second chances. Now, some just hope gas doesn't spike before Monday. Some want nothing more than a dishwasher that doesn't leak, a December that won't demand another overdraft, or a landlord who answers messages. These are not luxuries, they are maintenance, the minimum. And when people start praying for the minimum, you know something structural has cracked. But these cracks, they get covered in silence. Because who wants to admit they're slipping? Who wants to text, "I can't come, I have nothing to wear," when what they really mean is, "I couldn't afford laundry this week." So instead, we ghost. We lie politely. We cancel dinners last minute. We avoid calls from bill collectors. We keep our struggles offline, so the world sees only receipts that look tidy, only homes that look clean, only lives that look together. But here's what pain sounds like when it's trying to be quiet. It's fine. We're managing. Could be worse. Could be worse. The 4 words that now replace the backbone of an entire class, because the collapse of everyday life doesn't come with flames. It comes with adaptation. Less laundry, shorter showers, lower expectations. And this new version of okay is chilling, because it's invisible. You don't notice collapse when everyone's smiling through it. When the candles smell nice, even if they're the only light in the room. When the outfits are curated, but come from a thrift store because fast fashion has outpaced even fast food. Somewhere tonight, a kid stares into a screen convinced their parents are the only ones struggling. Because no one posts what the aftermath looks like when the dream grows too heavy. And that's the final silence. This sense of aloneness in a collapse that's anything but personal. Because you are not alone. You're not the only one skipping breakfast so someone else can eat more. You're not the only one Googling how to stretch a paycheck before bed. And you're not the only one pretending to be okay because everyone else seems to be doing just fine. But everyone else is pretending too. And so the greatest illusion continues. That collapse is an event, when really, it's a condition. It looks like holding together jobs and kids and panic and bills and never dropping a single thing because there's no one to catch it with you. And yet, in all this quiet unraveling, people still love, still dance in tight kitchens, still laugh mid-argument, still sit in traffic listening to the same playlist because it makes things feel steady, still show up, even late, even worn out, even when the gas tank flirts with e-resilience isn't a slogan. It's unpaid labor. Fewer meals out, more leftovers in. Self-diagnosing because the doctor now requires a $60 consultation before saying hello. Families become call centers. Did you pay this? Can you cover that? Want to split this week's groceries? And the shame isn't in needing help. It's in living in a country that makes needing help feel like failure. This isn't what anyone imagined. This isn't what effort was supposed to lead to. Not more hustle, more healing. Not more hours, more rest. Not collapse wrapped in convenience and cold innovation. But that's what it is now. Orders arrive faster, but peace takes longer. Notifications never stop, but clarity rarely shows up. Screens are brighter, but future visions clouded by uncertainty. This is where we are. Not at the start of something breaking, but standing inside something already broken. And still, people keep going. Because quitting costs more. Because no one's writing a bailout for the day-to-day family. Because no one's lowering the cost of being alive right now. Not really. And so, we hold hands while holding back tears. We forward payment plans. We clip coupons and download apps that monitor gas prices. We make it work. We find a way. And that's both beautiful and tragic. Because a country this wealthy should not make its people prove their worth just to stay warm. So what do? We start here. Name it. This is collapse. Not of buildings, but of normalcy. Not with headlines, but in households. Not with panic, but with pressure. Soft, constant, heavy. The weight of never catching up. Of being told everything's fine when your gut says it's not. So ask the real questions. Not, will things get better? But, why did they get like this in the first place? And more importantly, who benefits from us confusing adaptation with acceptance? Because the longer we normalize struggling, the easier it is for the system to keep functioning on our silence. So if anything from this felt familiar, you are not alone. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are simply living inside a version of America that makes thriving a moving target. But truth is louder than shame. So carry that forward. Into the conversations. Into your planning. Into the next time someone says, everything's fine. Because maybe, just maybe, you'll pause, breathe, and say, but what if it's not? They want one that's smart enough to work. Before you go, hit that subscribe button. We don't just review, we expose. From the hype to the hidden failures, to the tricks brands hope you'll never question. So hit like, tap subscribe, and join thousands of smart viewers who already know. Smart spending starts with asking smarter questions.